The Texas voter ID case is becoming one of the biggest legal battles between the state of Texas and the U.S. Justice Department. Now, does it limit minorities' right to vote? Joining me this morning in the Congressional Corner is the Honorable Congressman Poe. Good morning, and thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Okay, now, you know, Attorney General Eric Holder has said that the law amounts to a poll tax, but attorneys for the state disagree and say it's necessary to prevent voter fraud. What's your take?
Well, it's not a poll tax because a voter ID or a government-issued ID is free in the state of Texas. A person doesn't have a driver's license or a photo ID. The state of Texas furnishes them one, so it's not a cost at all. The whole purpose of photo ID is so that only lawful voters vote. As I discussed on the House floor last week, there are cases where many states have not purged their rolls, and dead people are on the rolls, and somebody else uses their name to vote. The Texas law is similar to the Indiana law, which the Supreme Court in 2008 ruled constitutional. So I think eventually the law in Texas will be upheld. Of course, I personally think that more people should vote. We want to encourage everybody, minorities especially, to vote, but make sure that only lawful voters vote. And it's interesting enough, when Eric Holder was here last week and spoke, to go hear him speak as a member of the media, you had to show a government-issued photo ID to hear him speak, but yet now he's saying when you go vote, you shouldn't have to show a photo ID. A little bit of inconsistency on the part of the Attorney General.
You know, but Congressman, he and some other Democrats brought up a point that here in the state of Texas, not all of the counties have locations where you can go get driver's licenses and/or IDs. Is the state going to do something, if it is approved, to allow people so they won't have to travel long distances to go get a photo ID?
Sure. The state of Texas has to make sure that people have access to a government ID, people that don't have one. Most people have some kind of government ID to engage in commerce in the state of Texas every day. You have to have a photo ID. I went to a public school last week. To get into the public school as a guest, you have to show a photo ID. So we require that in commerce and to just conduct social business every day. People don't have one. The state of Texas will furnish them one and make sure they get one because we want people to vote, but only lawful voters.
Last week, little bone of contention you had with the president because of the closing of 9 Border Patrol offices. He says he wants to close those that are away from the border in order to reassign those agents to areas along the border. What's your take on that?
Well, there are 9 of them, and 6 of those happen to be in Texas that he wants to close. The Border Patrol primarily patrols the first 25 miles into the United States. There are secondary Border Patrol stations throughout Texas where if we don't capture the bad guys, the drug cartels, then they may come in contact. There's a second line of defense. The drug cartels are glad to see that there's only one line of defense now. And we need that second line of defense. We need the backup. So if the president thinks we need to have more Border Patrol agents on the border, let's send him some more on the border, but don't remove those stops, those places in Texas where the Border Patrol works and helps capture the drug cartels out in the West Texas never land, you know, so to speak, Wild West, so to speak. So let's use that. Let's use the Border Patrol in both places.
Real quick, drones are used by governments now. They're in civilian populations. You're about to introduce something that's going to regulate the use of drones. Is that necessary?
Yes, it is. The technology with drones is so advanced that they're going to be very small. A civilian could fly one of those, and all I'm trying to do, along with other members of Congress, is to regulate the Fourth Amendment, make sure that there's a right of privacy before law enforcement agencies use those, or civilians try to use those, that there is a warrant is issued. And so we're just going to structure that so that there's a right of privacy, and so there's not a surveillance over people's privacy, and we need to do that by having some type of legislation to control the access to drones and what they do.
Look forward to you introducing and the arguments that will be on both sides of that issue there. Congressman Poe, it's always a joy to have you here on Fox 26.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you.